welcome to our couples devotional.
Good morning, guys. I spent the night.
No, it's untrue. Good morning. Welcome to Couples Morning Devotional. We have Josh Beatty with us. Me and Josh are entering our small group time, and I just said, "Hey, do you want to be part of morning devotionals?" And Josh says, "Yeah, of course." And he goes, "I already read it." Because how do you even have this book? What do you mean you already read it?
This book might have been a Christmas gift that I read with. I have the joy of reading with my wife every morning.
The joy
in private, not televised for everyone to see. Not
televised.
Who would do that?
Who would do that? Anyway, you've already read it, so maybe you have great insight. We don't read it like we just go right cold, and so why don't we have our guest do the reading?
Sounds great.
I would be honored.
Honored. It's an honor.
Yeah. So for April 20th, the title is Deadlines. Starting off with 2 quotes. I don't know whether I want in or out of this relationship. I've been struggling with it for months now. It's not appropriate to let it hang indefinitely. I'll give myself 2 months to make a decision. The next quote. I've had this unsolved problem hanging over my head for 6 months now. I'm confused. I'm not certain what to do. I'm going to give myself 1 month to come up with a solution. For the reading. Sometimes it helps to set a deadline. This can be true when we face unsolved problems, are struggling with a tough decision, have been sitting on the fence for a while, or been floundering in confusion about a particular issue for a time. This does not mean a deadline is written in stone. It means that we are established in a time frame to help ourselves not feel so helpless and to help bring a solution into focus. Setting deadlines can free our energy to set the problem or issue aside, to let go and allow the universe, our higher power, and ourselves to begin to move toward a solution. We don't always need to tell people we've got a deadline. Sometimes it's better to be silent, or else we may feel we're trying to control them and may rebel against our deadline. Sometimes it is appropriate to share deadlines with others. Deadlines are primarily a tool to help ourselves. They need to be responsible and appropriate to each individual situation. Used properly, deadlines can be a beneficial tool to help us get through difficult problems and situations without feeling trapped and helpless. They can help us let go of worry and obsessing so we can focus our energies in more constructive directions. Setting a deadline can help move us out of that uncomfortable spot of feeling victimized by a person or a problem we can't solve. Deadlines can help us detach and move forward. Today I will consider whether a deadline might be helpful in some area of my life. I claim divine wisdom and guidance in setting that appropriate deadlines for any problems or relationship issues that may be lingering.
The old deadlines.
Deadlines.
What was your takeaway? Since you already had it, since you already took something away.
So I find for me, I need deadlines because if I don't have deadlines, often my anxiety will peak. So what was it saying? It's like they can help us let go of worrying and obsessing. And it's like, so I find if there's tasks specifically, okay, so like even when I built the deck last year, I don't have a deadline to when I'm going to start it. I have an idea as to when I want to start it, but it's like I obsess about how I'm going to build it this way or this way. And it's like, and like I'm letting that anxiety not just go to the extreme end of obsessing about it and worrying about am I making the right decision, but it's like I just cycle through it over and over that I'm like I can't actually make a decision because I can't come to an end on it. So it's like I find it's like if saying, hey, if I got to do this by this time, then it's like it's a lot better.
The dogs are acting up.
Dogs are wild.
Yeah, so then in the reading it says it can be used as a tool. So it's a tool to deal with our own self, our insecurities, our procrastination. I think that's a tool that we've used in our past in our using or codependent relationships is like this procrastination. So yeah, I think deadlines are a tool, but I think we can go on the other side of deadlines and going telling everybody about the deadline, making New Year's promises and having these kind of deadlines in this box. And I think that can be a form of control as well, and it can go beyond a tool and just become a club, right? What's your thoughts, Vicky? Are you good with deadlines?
Right now, like in my current
Yeah, what do you think about
state?
deadlines?
Sounds awful.
Sometimes we have arguments when we read this. When I bring stuff up in this manner, this is how they start.
Well, so Vicky's not the only one. John is coming at me hard the other day about getting something done. And I'm like, bro, you never gave me a deadline. So all of a sudden, the deadline's tomorrow.
Oh.
But it's
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's good if you don't set like goals, then things can really fall by the wayside. And so, I worked really well under deadlines at work, when I was employed, and checklists and to-do lists and stuff like that. I think
You love a list.
I do. I love a good list. I think that, I think I can go a little bit, so
They bring up the word victimized.
yeah,
again.
because they're talking about moving out of that uncomfortable spot of feeling victimized by a person or a problem we can't solve. And so I think when it comes to like this book specifically, I think that, often the book is about codependency and about relationships and stuff, and we can't solve everything. Like I can't, but I do remember when when you were drinking and just saying like, if my life is the same,
And you gave it like
I said in 2 years.
2 year limit.
If my life is the same in 2 years, I'm done. I'm not living like this anymore.
That seems like a long deadline.
I actually
In
wrote
hindsight.
I wrote it in an online forum that I used a code name so that I couldn't keep a journal
What
because
was your code
find
name?
that. I'm not going to tell you.
like Lonsbury
And so no,
Princess.
I wasn't living here at the time. And so I actually wrote it online, and I actually went back and I saw it later. So I didn't remember it, but I
Princess
went back
Ruby.
and saw it later that I had said like, my life is so awful. I wrote all this stuff and then said if he's, the same in 2 years, if this is the same, I'm done. I'm not going to live like this anymore. And when I read it later, you were sober, and you had gone to treatment almost 2 years after that point. You had gone to treatment. And I remember laughing so hard and thinking like, I'm so sick. Who puts that kind of deadline of like,
But it was still a deadline.
2 more years of this?
It was still a tool to help you.
I think it helped me. It helped. So the point of that deadline, that in my mind, that saying that we talked about yesterday, when nothing changes, nothing changes. Someone had said that to me. And so that was like the beginning of getting me out of denial and into the reality of like, actually this situation is not livable.
Yeah.
And then there's other things that happened too the deadline, I think, even though I didn't necessarily remember, it was sort of like this early stages of like, actually this is really not acceptable and you shouldn't live like this, and something needs to change.
So then you're putting, like, it's not just a deadline as in, like, let's finish a deck, but you're actually putting a deadline on relationships.
Well, it was...
And, like, if they're not becoming healthy, then go, this is a deadline, and these are the boundaries that I'm going to set.
But I was looking at myself. I mean, the point was that I was actually going to turn 30 2 years from then.
So remember 30?
I was 28.
We thought we were old at 30. Oh, my goodness.
I was going to turn 30, and so that's where that deadline came from of, like, actually, I'm going to be 30, and this isn't what I want for my life. Like, this is, who lives like this? And so I feel like it was a good kind of beginning step of getting out of denial.
Well, and even going through, like, our business school, the reality is, like, we need deadlines to for performance and for reviews and for analytics. Like, there has to be deadlines in that. So this is kind of bringing that concept into the recovery ideal.
But I think it's also empowering too, though.
Yeah.
Because now all of a sudden it's like once you're able to make that decision, whatever the decision is, then you can actually, the next decision, like once you get in the habit of
Yeah.
like being able to act on something.
Well, that's what it means. You're saying it gives you power from becoming a victim of your own self, of your own no deadlines, no boundaries, and you're victimizing because of your situation. So putting a deadline in is
The first decision, I think, was people shouldn't live like this. Like, and this doesn't feel safe. This doesn't feel, comfortable. This doesn't feel like this is how human beings should be living. I think that was the first decision.
so coming out.
And
of
even
denial.
when I look at like more recent years, I think we've kind of made those decisions like along. I remember the first time we read a book like this together. It was like, oh my gosh, we are fighting every single morning on the way to work. We cannot keep doing this. This is insanity. Every single day, the same kind of fight. Like, and then
I would say more
arguments, but still like petty, silly.
Yeah.
Like
Just
just
on
those
each
snippy
other.
little arguments, and it's not pleasant. It's not how we want to start our day.
No.
And so then we thought, okay, let's read a book together.
Mm-hmm.
You said we're going to read a book together.
We're going to read a book
You're
together.
not even
We're
gonna
going
talk
to
to
be
me.
spiritually fit. I'm going to lead you into spiritual fitness. I think another thing is a deadline doesn't mean it needs to be written in stone, because we can be very controlling in our deadlines, and that can be the other side of no deadlines. So yeah.
Oh, look, it says right there, to help bring a solution into focus.
Solution into focus. So
That's
let's
good
just
wording.
leave on that note. Deadlines can be a useful tool to bring you, empower you, bring you out of victimization, and bring hope to situations. I like how we started when you said you would be honored. It reminded me of things that I'm asked to do and things that you're asked to do, and we've come to this realization that for me 13, 14 years ago, no one would ask me to look after children or speak at an engagement and sometimes I can feel inconvenient, so we are choosing to use the language of I feel honored to be a part of this, Devo.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm going to close real quick. So, God, I just pray right now for anybody who might be watching, and that if any of this resonates with them, that you would just help them with your wisdom and your guidance to consider any deadlines that might be helpful in any area of their lives, and that any problems or relationship issues that might be lingering, that you would just bring to mind any appropriate deadlines or decisions that need to be made, and that would be done with your wisdom and in your loving kindness, not of their own strength. Amen.
Amen. All right.